$7.25 an hour minimum wage is now 15 years old, which is also old enough to work a 40-hour weeks in Indiana. Yeah, 7.25 an hour is 15 years old, and that's the same age you can work 40 hours a week in Indiana. Yeah, man, 7.25, 15 years, the minimum wage hasn't increased. I wonder why that is. Does it have anything to do with the lobbyists? You know, does it have anything to do with how these corporations have a stranglehold on our politicians? You know, if you owned a company, you don't want to pay anybody more than 7.25. So then you're going to put pressure to make sure you don't have to pay people more than 7.25, so that you can keep your profits as high as possible, no matter the amount of what's the word I'm trying to productivity that comes from these people. Like productivity has increased dramatically over these last 15 years, but you only want to pay these people 7.25 still. And inflation has increased. It costs more for everything. And so that 7.25, you might as well be making $4 an hour or something like that. With the buying power of the dollar, I don't know how you can pay to live anywhere off of 7.25. I don't know how you could pay for rent and groceries off of that. It says 14 and 15-year-olds in Indiana can be scheduled for 8-hour days, up to 40 hours per week when school isn't in session, the maximum allowed by federal child labor protections. But Indiana Republicans want to go even further. They're trying to pass several new child labor bills to carve away at the protections for teens in Indiana. One would allow teens as young as 14 to work up to 40 hours a week year-round after completing 8th grade. Another would allow 16 and 17-year-olds to work in hazardous occupations as student learners and exempt employers from civil liability if a student is injured or killed on the job. Comment, it says, tell me we're a third world country without telling me. Another comment says, the federal minimum wage has people working full-time and still below the poverty line. That's completely unacceptable for a country that pretends to be the greatest nation on earth. Yep, greatest nation on earth. Not in how we pay people. Low-ranking country when it comes to that. It says it allows the person to work with these guidelines. So what's the problem? How does it go? My body, my choice. Okay, I mean, I guess, you know, there's a reason why they came out with these laws. You know, you had all these kids, they were getting deformed and messed up and stuff, and the corporations don't care. You know, it's a reason why they came up with these laws. You know, people gonna do certain things, right? But you incentivize them to do other things, and you do that through laws. Yeah, so if it was legal, people would have sex in the streets with animals. Would you say my body, my choice on that? No. Or would you say, man, we need to pass a law so that I don't have to see that? Comment says, with inflation, it would be 1050 if my previous math is correct. I think it's a little more than that. Another comment that says, considering the high expenses nowadays, and I know all Republicans want to do is exploit the youth, but I don't fully understand the bad about a 15-year-old being able to work that much if he wants to. I sort of do, but am willing to hear other perspectives. Well, I mean, school should be the focus, right? I mean, like, yeah, the kid might want to help his family out or whatever with the bills or whatever. A lot of people are struggling. They could probably go with the kid. I have a 16-year-old in the house right now, but I'm not pushing her to have a job. I'd rather she didn't. I much rather she focus on school and her sports and stuff like that, doing her thing. Like, she's got plenty of time to work the rest of her life. Like, she don't need to start doing that early. And that's going to lead these kids into a whole different direction, right? So maybe if they get more knowledge and develop some skills, then they can get a job or a career, even something that they enjoy doing or something that pays well or whatever. If they go ahead and start working now, then what skills are they going to develop? Now, maybe they'll get a job somewhere where they can develop some skills or whatever, or that turns into a career. But most likely it won't be, right? Because you're going to end up at 15 and 16 years old. What job is going to hire you and actually teach you some skills? Like, they're going to be hiring a job that just takes a body, you know, you know, and that's it, to fill a spot, like entry level forever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna be that. Like I say, and there's a reason why these laws came out in the first place. To deter people from doing this and going that route. Their focus should be on learning stuff. Their focus should be on just being a kid. They can grow up when they grow up or whatever and do adult stuff and have bills and stuff when that time comes. When they're a child, let them be a kid, man. Want to take their childhood away from them. And I agree with you. I think a lot of kids would want to work those 40 hours or whatever, but I don't think it should be legal. I don't think so. No, I disagree with it. I mean, if it's special circumstances like the ones related to the farms, you got a family farm, you got special circumstances. But for the regular thing, like a kid going to work at Burger King or Jack in the Box or whatever at 15 years old, they shouldn't be working no 80 hours a week or whatever the hell. How can they possibly be spending time with school and learning stuff? Like, what, they might as well just drop out of school at 15 then and just go to work. Then what's the point of going to school? What's the point of learning anything? What's the point of getting a diploma or whatever the hell? Like, you feel like there's no advantage to a person finishing school? Why that's why we have so many uneducated people in our society, because we don't have a focus on education. This takes the focus off of education. So that's the point. We want more educated folks in our society. People that just know how to, work is cool, but we need to have people that know other stuff. It says, yes, the pro-life crowd strikes yet again by making children work for their families instead of actually paying livable wages so parents are able to afford necessities and housing. Got it. Yeah, so the other part of this is related to the 725, because the parent in the household is making $7, $8, $9 or whatever, and they can't pay their bills. So then they are going to put pressure on the child to go get a job as early as possible to supplement the income in the house, and maybe the kid doesn't really want to work like that, but their parents are going to force them to do it, because they need it or whatever. So why don't you just pay the parents a little bit more? The parents can pay the bills, and then it won't be this pressure for that. But the reason that it's an exploitable group of people that you have at your dispense, if you're a corporation, so that you can make more profits. You're not going to pay that 15 and 16-year-old much more than minimum wage, because why should you, or why would you? They don't have any skills. They don't know how to do anything. Most likely they're not going to do the job very efficiently. So you're going to pay them as little as you can legally pay them. But you're going to still be making your profits on the back end. So that's the pressure. That's why, that the corporations are in the pockets of these politicians who are pushing for this kind of stuff. And I'm sure they're getting kickbacks and all kinds of advantages. Put them as the CEO. So they're congressmen this year. They passed some stuff to allow the corporations to work kids 80 hours a week. And 5 years from now, they're on the board of one of those same corporations who are benefiting from that legislation. And that's the revolving door of our politics, from a political person to lobbyists to freaking CEO, CFO, board of directors. And that's corruption by definition. It says, this is effing apparent, but no surprise. They're going to shit themselves when high school dropout rates spike, because these kids think they don't need school when Amazon is hiring. See, that's what I just said. What's the point in going to school? Just go ahead and drop out, work full time, and get away from your crazy parents. Get you a little old spot, get you a little old cutie pie, and y'all post up and do the grown up thing. No motivation, no incentive to finish school. For what? I already got a job. I'm supposed to go to school to graduate to get a diploma so that I can get a job, but I already got a job. And I don't like school. And I don't make no money doing that. And my parents don't buy me new shoes, and I need those new J's. I need those AirPods. You know? I want to go to the concert. I don't have money for that. I want to go see Lil Uzi Vert. I want to go see Taylor Swift. These kids can't afford to go see Taylor Swift. It's all grown-ups going to see her. I ain't gonna lie. I had my job when she had the concert here in Houston. It was a whole bunch of people at my job that had went to the concert. These were middle-aged white women. Talk about Taylor Swift concert. They're the only ones that can afford their tickets. I'm telling you, these kids can't afford no ticket to a Taylor Swift fucking concert. That shit is expensive as hell. Even grown-ups gotta save up for that shit. It says they took the children yearn for minds a little too seriously. Oh. Another one says the GOP are just straight up cartoon villains. It's actually hilarious. LMAO. It says you're not entitled to a minimum wage. You're not even entitled to a job. It's the attitude of entitlement that will always, always make you people miserable. Another one, it says, yes, capitalism at its peak form. Does anyone else think it's odd that we don't think it's right that rights of self-determination apply to 15-year-old, but it's the perfect time to start being underpaid and work a 40-hour work week? It says, regular Indiana L, I hate living here, get me out. Indiana. Another one that says, the government has never really been interested in protecting people from corporate overreach. The government is one big company. They'll probably be like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Democrats, especially Republicans, both. It's two wings of the same bird. And a lot of these comments underneath this particular post has been like Democrat friendly or whatever. But the Democrats are involved in this stuff too. They're doing this same stuff. Like whatever makes them money, whatever gives them more access to power, you know. I don't give the Dems a pass, you know. They're all the same, really. Like the difference between the Republicans and the Democrats is like the difference between Coke and Pepsi. Like it's the recipe is a slightly the ingredients or whatever is slightly different, but like the results are the same. The taste is about the same. Like it's about the same. Like essentially the same. Very little difference, basically. Like because like you could say, oh, Coke and Pepsi are very different. They taste totally different or whatever. But yeah, so the difference between Coke and orange juice or Coke and Pepsi and orange juice. Now there's a difference between Coke and Pepsi. It's like another soda, you know, a dark colored soda with a similar flavor. Like, let's face reality here. The difference is very minimal. To explain the Houthis in Yemen, they're the ones that I was talking about. Said that they're